Okay, so today's video, I know it looks like I recorded the video in the same day, but it's not. It's not the same day. Actually, this is a whole different day. I just wore the same. Y'all don't give a fuck about all that, but yeah. Today's video is um is about stress. How I handle stress and how I feel like you know most people. Well, I can't speak for most people, but how I've seen certain people handle stress. And also, I want to let you all know, like, all these videos are not scripted. So this is like genuinely me just in my thought processes, like me actually unpacking everything in front of y'all. So there's no scripts, there's no nothing. Maybe sometimes I'll come with bullet points, but that's about it. It's just raw, authentic, straight up. But how to manage stress, I feel like when when you get to a certain point in your life, like when you're young, you think like, yo, like when I'm gonna grow up, life is gonna be like this and life's gonna be like that. But you don't actually realize that the amount of stress you're experiencing as a kid is nothing compared to what you experience as you go through your adulthood. Or even like as a teenager, you may go through the stress of like your hormones, of all that, and you think like, yo, I can't wait to have my own place, I can't wait to be by myself, I can't wait to be all away from these people. But you don't realize that with all those wishes that you have, there's also a lot of stress that will come with it. Like, you don't just get to live how you are as a teenager as an adult, if that makes sense. So like, you don't just go from, oh yeah, like I hang out with my friends and I go home and play PlayStation, but this time I'll be alone so I can play PlayStation all day. It's like, nah. Now you gotta worry about shit like what you gotta eat. That's some shit that when you're a teenager, you don't even have to worry about that because mom and dad, if your parents are there to provide for you, they usually provide for you. Now there's certain people that, have to grow up quicker and have to be the provider of the house. But again, the same stress that they experience at a young age won't be the same stress that they will experience as an adult. Yeah, they'll be a little bit more, used to the stress because they've had to grow up earlier, but they would still have to adapt to the stress of just the adult life. Like an example is just if you drive at a 16-year-old, you can drive recklessly, get your tickets and get it back, and not go to jail. And just if you go to juvenile, it's just for a little bit. Like the consequences aren't as great. Like your record could gets clean up as soon as you become an adult. All that sort of stuff is like, as a 16-year-old, like, yeah, you get to face some consequences, but as an adult, is like you get the extreme consequences. It's not just the, oh, like, he's young type consequences. He doesn't know all that. But yeah, but the way in which I've realized I deal with stress is by just, you know, like accepting that you can never fully get rid of stress. You know what I'm saying? You can never just live stress free. There'll always be something that will stress your mind. You know, like a lot of us, when we're younger, we want to get rich. That's the first stress that we sometimes face. It's like we want to get rich so we can move out and live by ourselves and live this beautiful life. But that's the first, stress factor that we're faced with when we're younger. Now, once you get rich, like what else? Well, now you have the stress of your surroundings. Like, who do you have around you? Who do you want to help around you? Now you have the responsibility of your family. You have the stress of that. And not only that, but now people hold you at a certain expectation in the family. Now, let's say you find a way to tackle that. Well, now you have the stress of society. You have taxes, you have fucking your businesses, you have all these sort of stuff that will still bring you stress. Now, let's say you find a way to solve the stress of taxes and handling business, where now you have the stress of the outside world being envious towards you. Now you have to find ways in which you can protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? So now you have to get a security team. You have to get, you know what I'm saying? Like there's always going to be stress about something in this world that we live in, that I feel like the best way to handle and tackle stress when you grow or when you reach your adulthood is just accepting and acknowledging that you can never fully get rid of stress. Stress is just something that in this society is the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like the only time you probably not be stressful is when you've retired. And even then, you would still be stressing about how's my kid doing? Are they doing good? Are they healthy? If you have kids, if you don't have kids, now you'd be stressing about, who's going to clean my garden because I'm getting older. Who's going to do all? There's still going to be a certain sort of stress in life. So, again, this video is basically just to explain that stress will forever be something that is part of your life. And your job is not to try and get rid of it, but instead, your job is to find ways in which you could work with it, find harmony in the stress. It's like, oh, okay, like I have to get rich. Okay, bet. Like let me get rich in the most fun way possible, you know, selling dirt bikes, have a dirt bike company. I like riding dirt bikes, so it will be dope when the customer is like, yo, I need it for a shoot. I was like, yeah, I'll bring my boys, we could ride the dirt bike and you add us in the shoot. Boom, I could rent it out to you. Like you find ways to make sure that the stress of life doesn't affect you as much. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like stress will never disappear, so might as well just find a way to harmonize with it. And as I grew, I started realizing that, bro, I'm always stressing. Like I've always stressed. Like why is it that I can't just not stress? But then one thing I've also realized that's a good pattern is I always find a way to make sure the stress has its place in my life. Where it's like, oh, okay, I'm stressing, but it's like I'd rather not. I'm happy that I'm not stressing because this stress is bringing some sort of life into me. This stress is actually bringing the best out of me. Like if I wasn't stressed right now, I'll probably be sat in the couch eating fucking potatoes and chips and you know just be a fat lazy person. You know, and even that, like there's still a point in your life where you'll probably go through that. There's probably a point in your life where you'll be like, fuck it, let me just be a fat, lazy person that eats potatoes and just doesn't do shit with their life. But you very quickly realize that I can do more. And the moment you realize that you can do more, it's also the moment you have to accept that, hey, there's gonna be stress that comes with it. There's gonna be pressure from every angle that comes with it. And your job is not to say, I'm gonna go against it. Your job is to say, okay, how do I make sure that this stress works in my favor? How do I make sure that this doesn't affect me to where it could destroy me, but instead it builds me. And again, I feel like the more stress you have to, the more like success could come out of it, because you're basically going against something that a lot of people would probably fold under. But if you find a way to push through it, then that stress becomes your base level, or like it becomes normal to you. And if it was a big amount of stress, then you get big rewards because it's like, damn, most people would quit, but you push through. And this is what is on the other side of the part that most people quit. So this video is basically to say, like, if you're a 9 to 5er, you're creative, student, teenager, doesn't matter where you are. the amount of stress you're facing might get even more, might get even more, might increase. The amount of stress might even increase. And your job is not to hate it. Your job is to accept that, okay, how do I handle it? How do I make sure that this doesn't even affect me? And then once you find a way to do that, of course there's going to be new stress that comes, but because you've pushed through that, you're going to be able to reap the benefits of handling, that stress. So all that to say is stress is a good thing if you make it a good thing. And you shouldn't see it as a negative thing, because it's going to bring you a lot of good in life if you push through it and if you find a way to harmonize with it. Appreciate you all for watching. I'm going to be posting here on a daily, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on your notification, and like and share. Send it to somebody who you feel like may need to hear this, because sometimes we're going through so much and all we need is just a friend to like send something, and it's like, damn, I was thinking, how am I going to handle this? And this video you sent me was actually helpful. So don't hesitate to share it with a friend if you find it helpful. And appreciate you all for watching. See y'all in the next one. Peace.